He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States.
We might be going to war. That's something you should be aware of. I feel like for how, and I hate to say it looks like we're going to war because maybe we're not, but for how close it looks like we're going to war, would you guys agree that most of American citizens like aren't really aware that we're anywhere close to going to war with Venezuela and
Yeah.
Colombia now? We're also fucking with Colombia now all of
Wait,
a
what's
sudden.
going on in Colombia? I haven't heard this.
Okay, we're gonna get to that. There's all kinds of stuff, but
Oh, jeez.
for the record, right now we have over 10,000 troops in the region. Most of them are in Puerto Rico. A couple thousand of them are on. There's 12 U.S. Navy ships. Everything from we have one aircraft carrier. We've got a couple destroyers. We got some frigates. We have two amphibious landing ships, and like this isn't like the little ones you saw on D-Day. These are big ships that like pull right up to shore and drop a big gate and offload tanks and everything else. And then also one nuclear submarine. So 12 ships, a nuclear submarine, 10,000 troops, a bunch of what do they call them? The Reaper drones flying around, shooting Hellfire missiles at any fishing boat in the area.
Wait, how many fishing vessels have we bombed yet?
So either 7 or 8. I saw earlier today that
what the hell are we doing? We are fucking idiots.
I saw earlier today that we had done the 8th, is what I saw in a tweet. But then since then, I keep seeing the 7th. So 7 or 8, I'm not positive on. Here's what's also, sorry, in addition to all that, we have a couple different groups of special forces, and they won't say who exactly, but we have special forces stationed near Trinidad and Tobago. That's right in that general area. It's one of those where if you're a Republican, a lot of Republicans have been trying to say, oh, we're not really going to war with Venezuela. We're just doing like peace through strength to get them to give up this or that, whatever it is they claim.
Well, we talked about this last time. Their scale from 1 to 4 on the democracy scale is 0.
Yeah.
They don't have a democracy. So they are a fascistic government, right?
So not their socialism, but they're a socialist dictator, not fascism. Slightly different.
Okay, socialistic dictator, yeah.
So, and also just to get this all in the open, the leader of Venezuela, Maduro, not a good guy, treats his people bad. There's no defending him at the moment. Also, we're gonna be talking Colombia in a minute. Their leader is Gustavo Petro, and he is also not a good guy, socialist, treats his people bad, no free and fair elections. So, as much as I don't want to go to war, you can't be like, what? These two countries are doing fine. What? No, they're not. I mean, they're not good countries to live in. There's a reason that a lot of their citizens are trying to come America to flee what's going on in their country. So that's just get that out in the open.
So our dictator president wants to get rid of these other dictator presidents to spread democracy.
He's not a dictator yet. He's just leaning that way. We're heading in that direction. But real quick,
a lot of people say he wants to be he should be a dictator.
People are saying as
but
Trump
he doesn't want to be a dictator. He's not a dictator.
Yeah. This guy. Anyhow, the whole argument that like, oh, well, he's just using a show of force to try to get them to give this or give that or whatever. Maduro, the president of Venezuela, did a video in English to Trump where he put it online where he offered Trump whatever he wants. I will give you our oil sales. I will give you this. I will stop doing everything with China. He did this the other day, and a reporter asked Trump about this at the White House. Check this out real quick.
Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What could we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So Trump admits he's offered everything. There's nothing left that he could offer, and Trump doesn't care. He wants. I don't know what he wants because I guess he just wants regime change. I don't know. If you could say he's doing it because Venezuela does have the biggest oil fields in South America, so maybe this is about the oil. Well, Maduro offered him the oil, and he said he doesn't want it. So I don't know.
I
what do y'all
think? Dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah, he that was his mic drop moment. They don't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you. Have a good night, and got up and left. So.
See, that's the thing about Trump, though, is Trump is not typically involved in any transaction unless there's something in it for him, right? So, whether it be the oil or something else, there's got to be some kind of underlining reason why all of a sudden he's got a target on Venezuela's back.
So I don't want to pretend that I really understand this, but I'll tell you what I've heard people say on podcasts I listen to.
I got it.
Well,
Rubio.
There you go. Rubio, yes.
Rubio.
So apparently in South Florida, this has been talked about for decades. Like there are a lot of ex-Cuban, ex-Venezuela, ex all those Latin countries that live in South Florida, and they left there because they don't like Maduro or they didn't like Castro. So like if you live in South Florida, the hey, we should do something about Venezuela sentiment has been there for 20 years. We just don't hear about it in the rest of America. Rubio is now the Secretary of State and the Director of National Intelligence, which the last person to hold both of those roles was Henry Kissinger, and he was not a good dude. So Rubio's got those two roles, which are supposed to be separate. He basically is a one-man show when it comes to our foreign policy. He is from South Florida. Trump is from South Florida. They probably for years have been having people, any chance people get, they get in their ear and start talking, hey, what are you going to do about Venezuela? What are you going to do about Maduro? So this has been a long time coming. Like Rubio's talked about this for a decade, ever since he got into the Senate. Like he's been talking about wanting to do this. I think this is a grudge. Like they want to do it, they see their chance. Trump mentioned in the same press conference where he said they don't want to fuck with us. He said they asked him about land targets, and he's like, "Yeah, well, we pretty much got control of the sea now, so it's time to start looking at bombing the land targets. So get ready because that's probably not far away." Scary, huh?
Well, I mean, so the end goal is to get rid of Maduro,
Yes.
but it seems like they're just bombing fishermen in the meantime. Like this is not the way to do anything. If you want democracy spread across the country, do it in a better way. Don't just start killing innocent civilians and now we're going to start bombing the land.
When what Trump will never understand, and this is too deep for him to get, but like, okay, we have an immigration crisis coming from South America. Why? Why do people want to leave Venezuela and come to America or Colombia and come to America? Because they're failed states. They're not doing well.
Yep.
If we maybe put some resources into trying to make those countries do a little better, less of their people would want to leave and come to America. But instead, we destabilize the region constantly, and then we act shocked when their people are trying to come to America because it sucks in their country. A lot of times, it sucks in their country because of America. I hate to tell people that. The last time we overthrew Venezuela was 2002. Okay, we overthrew their leader. Maduro's been in charge ever since. Like we can't help but go in and fuck around in these Latin American countries, and then we're like, what? Why do they all want to come here? Because they're failed states because of us. That's my rant on that.
Yeah. And Hegseth is the child who has a hammer. And his hammer is actually bombs, and he's like, "Let's bomb them! Let's bomb them! Yay!"
There was an article in either the New York Times or the Washington Post like a week ago where they were saying that Hegseth is out of the loop on all the military planning. Like he's supposed to be the guy doing all this, and really it's Rubio and Stephen Miller that are making all these decisions, and then they're just telling Hegseth what he's supposed to do. Like so, Hegseth has not got a voice in this. Speaking of all the boats, real quick, there was a boat.
Well, hold on, I got a question.
Yeah.
How do we make Venezuela better? Like we obviously we have to get rid of Maduro at some point. If we're gonna like force democracy upon Venezuela, which is exactly what our goal is. What is the best strategy for that?
Well, what's probably going to happen, and I don't know what the best strategy is. I don't want to pretend I know, okay? But what's probably going to happen is say we successfully overthrow him, we're eventually going to have to leave, and as soon as we do leave, some force we don't like is going to take over the country. It just happened in Afghanistan and Iraq. Like every time we go in and try to do regime change, we can prop it up for as long as we're willing to leave troops there. The second we want to pull our troops out, it's all going to come crumbling down. So I get what you're saying. I don't know what the right option is. Sanctions, maybe. I really don't know. I don't even want to pretend I know. No. I'm just saying if we try to invade and do regime change, at some point we got to leave. And when we leave, it's going to go crumbling.
Well, I mean, like force is not the way to do something like that. It's what we were doing with what was the big program across the world? USAID.
Yeah, soft power. That's
soft
the way to
power,
do it. Yeah.
Influence. Like, hey, democracy is great. You make more money. You have a better, like, we love democracy. Here you go. Like, have this. Here's some free medical attention. Like, it's not just overthrowing a government. That just creates resentment, right? Like, so what if we like open up a GM factory down in Venezuela and makes our, I don't know.
Well, so that was part of NAFTA in the 90s. Clinton had this great idea. NAFTA was basically, hey, if we make Mexico better, if we put a couple GM and Ford plants in Mexico and create jobs down there, less of their people will want to come to America. That was the whole point between that. There was a lot of points of NAFTA, but that was one of the big parts. Trump does not see it that way at all, and he thinks there should always be a winner and a loser. And if it's the USA versus Mexico, the USA should be the winner and Mexico should be the loser. What he doesn't realize is if you make Mexico the loser, their people are going to try to flee to a better place, which is America. There's no getting that through to him, but I firmly believe that with all my heart.
High tides lift all ships.
You would think so. And that's NAFTA had some problems, but the general idea of let's try to make all these other countries around us better so their people won't want to come here, it's a good idea. I quite enjoy that. Real quick, moving on to the boats, Docs, because I think you'll enjoy what I'm about to show you, and I don't mean that sincerely.
Jesus.
So this was a boat in the Caribbean in September that we blew up. And this was, remember the Colombian president, like a week or two ago, was saying that one of the boats we blew up had a Colombian citizen on board? Anyhow, this was that boat. Fisherman Alejandro Carranza had no ties to the drug trade, and his daily activity was fishing. The Colombian boat was adrift and had its distress signal up due to engine failure. So, boat in the Caribbean, distress signal up, engine not working, fisherman on board, Colombian boat, Colombian fisherman. And we blew it up and immediately claimed it was a Venezuelan boat running drugs. Distress signal up, okay? The boat wasn't going anywhere. We could have easily interdicted on that. We could have sent a Coast Guard ship or whoever. We could have gone by to see what was going on, boarded that boat, checked to see if it had drugs. No, we blew it up with a Colombian fisher on board. So that's one. Feel good about this, Docs?
This is just depressing, man. It's like I could be on one of these fucking boats.
I wouldn't right now if I were you. I would stay out of the Caribbean.
Yeah, but this is so dumb. This is so dumb that we're just blowing up boats in the Caribbean.
Yeah, boats that we have no evidence are doing anything wrong.
Right. No, and this is we are creating war crimes. This is not even a war. It's just a criminal enterprise that the United States is doing, bombing these boats.
Yeah. All right. So this is another one of the boats we blew up that the Colombian president is saying was just fishermen, and our wonderful DHS came out with a bold-faced lie about this. Docs, can you read what it says on this?
Update. Colombian president claims one of the narco boats destroyed in the U.S. Naval Task Force was just a poor Colombian fisherman. Does this look like a poor Colombian fisherman?
So
it looks like he had tons of bait. Cocaine attracts lots of fish. Oh, cocaine attracts lots of fish. Colombian president is a liar.
So look at this picture real quick. This does look bad. Those are some nice Yamaha looking engines on the back. He's got a GPS, and those appear to be, I would believe those are bags of drugs, right?
I don't know.
I mean,
I would imagine they would package their drugs a little better than that.
This looks
like this looks like there's mold growing on the drugs.
Okay, well, I'll tell you right now, Docs, those are drugs. 100% those are drugs.
Colombian president claims one of the narco boats destroyed by the U.S. Naval Task Force was just a poor Colombian fisherman.
What's the next one?
Does this look like a poor fishing boat?
Okay. Go to the next picture.
Can't be the same boat.
Okay, it's a boat that we definitely that had drugs on it. All right. This got fact checked by Twitter. This is community notes. Can you tell me what that says?
This photo is from a drug bust that occurred in 2024. Zero ties to the current situation. Photo is taken from the video attached in the article below.
So that was a picture that our DHS put out of a previous arrest from years ago. And they said, hey, look, the Colombian president is lying. Here's our picture of evidence. And they put it out, and it was not even a picture from any time during Trump's term. It was from previously of a boat that we interdicted with, that we pulled up alongside, searched them, and found out that they had drugs.
That's an inflatable fucking boat, too.
Yep. Flat out caught in a lie, though, right? I mean.
So that boat's not making it from Colombia to America.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. And yeah, well, we'll get to that in a second about the distance.
It's a tiny little inflatable boat with 4 engines on it. There's no way you could put enough gas power on that to get, I don't know.
No, it's 2,500 miles. 2,500 miles from there to here. So
This is ridiculous. I'm actually really frustrated by this because I have a special place in my heart for fishermen, being a fisherman myself, and just bombing fishermen for fishing. Like,
mm,
could you imagine if you're in a kayak out in the middle of a lake and like a missile just comes and bombs you?
that'd be the
Just
scariest
blows you
because
up.
it's I'm trying to remember. It's an MQ-9 Reaper drone. We have a couple of them flying over the Gulf at all points, and like there's a dude sitting in a room somewhere in America controlling this thing like a video game, and he gets the order to blow that boat up, and it's probably one hit of the button, and whoop, Hellfire missile away. And I'll bet those fishermen have about a half a second heads up before it hits them. I'll bet they hear something at the last second.
Well, I
Jesse,
hope that guy has a hard time sleeping.
Jesse, I don't want to bring up bad memories for you, but you were in situations when you were in Iraq where you were in your bunk and there was mortar shells going off around you. Could you hear like the boom when they first got launched, or could you just hear like a as they were coming closer, or what kind of warning did you have?
None of the above on the mortars, but
Okay.
mortars and rockets are a little bit different. So a mortar, it has its propulsion right off the bat, right? So picture a bottle rocket, right? Bottle rocket, you light it, all of a sudden, boom, propulsion, and that stays until blows up in the sky. A mortar is a real quick boom, and that's it. So you don't hear anything. There's no whistle. There's no sound. No stream. It's just you hear it when it lands and it blows up. If I had to guess, because I've heard RPGs before, you're probably picking up some kind of a or
Right,
something.
right before it hit you, just enough time to go what, and then you're done.
Those are their last seconds on the boat, I'm sure.
Oh
Yeah.
God. So somehow the boat that we hit, oh God, 3 or 4 days ago now, somehow two people survived. Okay.
That was a
Uh,
submarine, wasn't
so it seems like no. Trump said that it was
it?
a submarine, but it very much appears now that the submarine was not the time there were survivors from. And this is all because our government's not giving us anything and they're not even briefing Congress on this. So nobody knows for sure. But he tried to say it was from a submarine. There's a lot of people saying that no, this wasn't from the submarine. But either way, somehow two people survived. I'm thinking that they probably saw the drone overhead and said, "I'm out of here," and jumped off the boat before the missile was even on the way and just said, "I'm getting away from this damn boat," which is exactly what I'd do in that situation. Uh, but so we've got these two guys, we've got them, and they're apparently being held on a Navy ship in the Caribbean. We're wondering what are they going to do with these people? They're going to bring them back and have them stand trial? Not at all. Trump tweeted, and this is a long tweet, but in the middle of it, he says, the two surviving terrorists are being returned to their countries of origin, Ecuador and Colombia, for detention and prosecution. So we're not going to
Yeah.
prosecute these narco terrorists here in America. I mean, every boat strike they've done, they've said they've had very clear, decisive evidence that these are narco terrorists trying to bring drugs to America. There was drugs on board. They're very sure of this, but for some reason, we're not going to charge these people with that. That's a red flag to me. Then so one of those was Colombian and one of them was from Ecuador. Okay, the Colombian president. Oh man, he came out with a zinger on Trump. He came out with a couple of them actually. His first one said the U.S. government officials have committed a murder and violated our sovereignty in territorial waters. Fisherman Alejandro Carranza has no ties to the drug trade and his daily activity was fishing. The Colombian boat was adrift and had a distress signal up due to engine failure. We await explanations from the U.S. government. This was about a week ago. Carolyn Levitt comes out right after that, and I don't even have it, but she was like, this disgusting and reprehensible statement from the Colombian president is a lie, blah, blah, blah. Totally calls him a liar. They have been going back and forth for the last week about this. Trump finally spoke back up on this.
President Gustavo Petro of Colombia is an illegal drug leader, strongly encouraging the massive production of drugs in big and small fields all over Colombia. It has become the biggest business in Colombia by far. This is such a run-on sentence. And Petro does nothing to stop it, comma, despite large-scale payments and subsidies from the U.S. that are nothing more than a long-term ripoff of America. I'm pretty sure he should have separated a lot of that into sentences.
There was two sentences. That whole thing was two sentences.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's a period. Okay.
Yeah.
Still long. Anyway, as of today, these payments or any other form of payment or subsidies will no longer be made to Colombia. The purpose of this drug production is the sale of massive amounts of production into the United States, causing death, destruction, and havoc. Petro, a low-rated and very unpopular leader with a fresh mouth toward America. With a fresh mouth toward America? What does that mean?
Because he accused the president of murdering his citizens.
Hmm. Better close up these killing Better close up these killing fields immediately, or the United States will close them up for him, and it won't be done nicely. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. I mean, there's got to be a better way to do this. Like, you can't just start bombing fishermen in the sea. Like, this
Uh,
is I guarantee you the World Court is looking at us saying like this is what is it, a human rights violation or something.
yeah, the human court to go after Netanyahu for what happened in Gaza, that's one thing, but to come after America, that who is they're picking a battle there is all I'm going to say. So I don't know that they're going to get involved with this, but
Not just America to pick on Trump is a battle.
yeah, it is. But really, I'll say this though. This is full disclosure. The whole thing where we keep blowing up Venezuelan boats and saying that they're bringing fentanyl into the U.S. Total horseshit. Apparently, like 0.01% of fentanyl in America comes from Venezuela. We don't get drugs from Venezuela, really. We don't. Venezuela, they send over their people, but not their drugs. Colombia, we get cocaine from Colombia. Fentanyl, all the fentanyl comes from Mexico and China. Anytime that they say fentanyl is coming from these South American countries, it's not. It's coming from Mexico and China. That's where it's coming from. Cocaine comes from Colombia, and it's all. I thought it was like 100% of it, but it's like 40% of the cocaine in America comes from Colombia, something like that.
Is it pure cocaine?
I mean, it's from Cartagena. I'm going to say it's probably the good stuff. But so if this is really about killing narco terrorists, to be honest with you, Colombia is the country we should have started with. Like Venezuela doesn't have anything to do with the drug trade coming to America for the most part.
Rubio wants to go after.
Yeah, Rubio. So,
Yeah.
and again, the Colombian president isn't a good dude. I'm not on his side in any of this. But now we are openly flirting with going after Venezuela. We've been doing for a while. And he just said there, if they won't do it, we'll do it for them. And it won't be done nicely. We also took away all the foreign aid to them. And Trump said that he's going to have new sanctions for them here in the next couple of days. So,
Well, there's a saying, and it's like, okay, so there's a saying in the fire department where like if you take care of yourself before you take care of other people, right? You have to make sure that you're okay. It's like if you're flying in a plane and the gas masks go,
Put on your mask.
gas mask on first, then put everybody else help other people. We are in distress. And we are funding a genocide, and we are in limbo with Russia and like why are we going after these other countries for not being a democracy right now when we're doing all these fucked up things?
Well, first of all, what you fail to understand is it's America first, okay? And America first sometimes mean you give a lot of money to Israel for genocide, or you give $40 billion to Argentina to help stabilize their economy,
80.
or
80.
Is it 80 now?
80 to Argentina.
Okay. Or sometimes you got to spend a lot of money to put your military assets in the Caribbean to kill fishermen. This is America first, Docs, and you fail to understand this. Okay? Jesse, I got to ask you. You've been a part of one regime change war, I want to say. From your standard of actually going through this. You got to be over there, you got to see the people and how they reacted to an occupying force. Do you have any thoughts on this that us two idiots that never served might have about the potential of going into Venezuela and straightening them out?
I mean, if he's already done that to Portland, LA, Austin, like what's gonna stop him from going into some other country to, ruffle some feathers? But it's tough, man. You said it earlier in the show, there's not a lot of people, I think, that are paying attention to current events and have much of any clue of what's going on. So I can just imagine if there's some troops that get deployed and they go over there, you're not going to have a clue what's going on. Not the majority of them.
And by the time you went, because you were in Iraq, right?
Correct.
So by the time you got to Iraq, that had been going on for a year or two. Am I right on this? I might have timelines off. It had been going on for
right about a year. Right about a year.
year.
I remember it was like 2002 or three. And I'll be quick with this, but I remember going to PT, get done with PT, shower up, and we're watching TV, and we're seeing the bombs drop in Iraq. And I got to tell you, right, young and dumb, kind of like I mentioned a couple shows ago. We're sitting there just excited, like shit. We're in the service. We're dropping bombs. Obviously, it's for a good reason. I mean, the U.S. wouldn't do it for reasons that are fabricated, like weapons of mass destruction, and just finding a way to get ourselves over to that part of the world. But yeah, I have no clue. If we deploy over there, people are going to be on the bandwagon and just ready to, work towards the cause. And I don't think anybody's going to know really what's going on.
Do you think that that was different back in 02, 03 with no social media versus now? Like, because you could get online back then, right? I remember you said you did a lot of internet shopping from the base, right? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, it's a bougie deployment. At least
So,
it was for some.
but I would assume people that are stationed overseas, wherever, probably have internet access and can get on Twitter or Facebook or whatever else. So I gotta wonder. I think back then would have been easier to keep the troops' morale good because they're not hearing the negative sides to what might be happening. Whereas I gotta believe that's harder these days. Maybe I'm wrong on
Hold
that.
on, hold on.
Okay.
How many troops do you think are foregoing their TikTok time to get on David Pakman show or CNN or any news organization?
So basically, you're saying if they're in the military, they're in the correct bubble to be pro-America. We got to go kick these socialist butts.
Um,
I
there's a
don't
little
think
bit of
that's
that.
what Doc's. I mean, maybe that is what Doc's saying, but I don't see these guys putting down their PlayStation and Xbox controllers long enough
Okay.
to
So
have
they're
the
not online.
desire to go see what's going on.
Okay, so they're not online. These are people that are not curious as to what's going on.
They're
I
online, but
think,
they're online on Xbox.
yeah, I think if
Okay.
you, I think if you're a hardcore Trump supporter, I feel like if you're somebody who is wrapped up in the Democratic world and you want to see change, I feel like like those groups, they're dialed in. But that's a small part of the whole. I think most people, most teenagers, most people in their 20s and 30s, most soldiers, most teachers, most salespeople, name them. I think most people have zero clue what's going on right now.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, and you got to think like the majority of people who join the military are from a small town. They don't really have too many options, and they're just joining the military because it's going to give them a paycheck and maybe a leg up in society when they get out, right?
Yeah, pay for college and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Okay.
no, Doc hit it on the head, man. So right in the military, you've got a squad and a platoon and a company. Your company is pretty much like your business. It literally is the brick and mortar that you walk into every day. Companies are usually 200 to 250 strong. I remember going through basic, at least for my platoon of 50 or 60 people, right? Three, four, five of these making up a company. They went around the room early on and said, hey, why'd you enlist? And we all got to stand around and hear 50 people share the reason for why they signed up. There were maybe 1 to 3, at least in my company. And you have to assume, right? You could take it for mine and apply that to the others. There were 1 to 3 people that did it for patriotic reasons, right? Dad served, grandpa served.
Yep.
Dude, everybody. It was college tuition reimbursement. It was I didn't amount to shit growing up, so this is my chance to show the world that I did something with my life. Again, the people behind the triggers are not the people that, for the most part, give 2 fucks about politics.
Damn.
They're not watching CNN or Fox News, even Fox News. Let's just say that.
That's a shame. All
And
right.
I hate to think about some of the people that are very high up. I'm not going to name names, but there's some people that are incredibly high up, deployed multiple times, with some good rank, commissioned and enlisted. Them too, right? They kind of almost prefer to stay in a bubble and try not to force feed a lot of the stuff that we're seeing on a regular basis on Fox or CNN or different podcasts.
They just want to take orders and live their life.
It makes their job a lot easier if they can just lean forward, keep their head down, and just focus on the mission right in front of them.
It's very Christian of them.
It's depressing to hear, honestly. So the only other thing that I wanted to play for y'all, Rand Paul was on, I think it might have been ABC. I think it was this, what is it? Not Meet the Press, whatever ABC show there is. But check this out real quick. This is Rand Paul just talking about everything that's going on in Venezuela.
On this, President Trump has authorized military strikes against suspected drug boats in the Caribbean. As you know, so far, more than 20 people, Senator, have been killed in 6 different strikes. Do you believe that these strikes against these suspected drug boats are legal?
No, they go against all of our tradition. You know, when you kill someone, you should know if you're not at war, not in a declared war, you really need to know someone's name at least. You have to accuse them of something. You have to present evidence. So all of these people have been blown up without us knowing their name, without any evidence of a crime. And for decades, if not centuries, when you stop people at sea in international waters or in your own waters, you announce that you're going to board the ship and you're looking for contraband, smuggling, or drugs. This happens every day off of Miami, but we know from Coast Guard statistics that about 25% of the time the Coast Guard boards a ship, there are no drugs. So if our policy now is to blow up every ship we suspect or accuse of drug running, that would be a bizarre world in which 25% of the people might be innocent. The other thing about these speedboats is they're 2,000 miles away from us. If they have drugs, they're probably peddling drugs to one of the islands of Trinidad or Tobago off of Venezuela. The idea that they're coming here is like, it's a huge assumption, and really shouldn't you have to present some proof? It is the difference between war and peace. In war, though, you don't ask people's name. But if they want all-out war where we kill anybody and everybody that is in the country of Venezuela or coming out, that has to have a declaration of war. It's something that is not pretty, very expensive, and I'm not in favor of declaring war on Venezuela, but the Congress should vote. The president shouldn't do this by himself.
Let's talk about...
You know, sometimes Rand Paul really makes sense.
Dude, I'll say this. There are a couple of Republicans that are principled, and I don't agree with everything they do, but Thomas Massie, Rand Paul, I can't believe I keep saying this, but Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, I don't
Hold on.
Yeah.
MGT is for sure. I mean, I think I don't know what her angle is right now.
She's principled.
She's not principled. You can't say that she's principled. There's no principle in her backbone. Not 1 ounce of principle. She's angling for something.
Okay, I believe she is. She's reading the polls and the tea leaves and
Jewish space lasers. She stood back behind it. She posted that and stood behind it.
Did either of you happen to watch her whole podcast with Tim Dillon? Like, it was an hour long, but did you guys see the whole thing or just clips?
No. 100% not.
I'll say this.
I can't stand her.
She still is very pro-Trump. She thinks that all the people around Trump are misleading him, but she's a big believer in Trump. She just thinks he's getting bad advice right now. But okay, we'll take her out of the equation. Thomas Massie and Rand Paul for sure. Principled. I don't agree with everything they say, but like they think they're the only 2 Republicans right now that are defying Trump. Rand Paul said a couple key things there. The last thing he said, if you want all-out war, then fine, come to Congress and ask for the declaration of war. Congress has to vote on that. That's the way our system is set up. The president can't just randomly blow up boats in other countries. Something as simple as, if you're going to kill someone, you should at least know their name and know what they're accused of. We're just blowing them up. What did he say? Did he say 25% of the boats they stop that they suspect have drugs don't have drugs on board?
Yeah, but I'm guessing 100% of these boats don't have drugs on.
Oh, I still think it's possible that a couple of them had drugs, but I don't. None of them were on their way to America. That's what I can definitely say. They had drugs. They were if they had drugs, they were in international waters, and they were not. They didn't have the gas capability of getting to America. Like, they're on a little boat. They can't go 2,000 miles.
But then that goes to America policing another country.
Team America, World Police, baby.
This just doesn't make any. It's like they're just doing things that they're not supposed to do. They're doing bad things to good people that don't make any sense.
I can't say that any of the people on these boats were good people. I don't know. There's a chance some of them were drug boats. We don't know. That's the thing. I'd love to see the evidence, or I'd at least love for them to show, because in Congress you have what's called the Gang of 8, and it's the top 2 senators from the left, top 2 senators from the right, top 2 Republicans from the top 2 Republicans in the House and the top 2 Democrats in the House. That's called the Gang of 8. It's basically the leadership of Congress. And when something goes on like this, normally someone from the DOJ or the White House or the Department of Defense will come and they will brief the Gang of 8. And that's super sensitive material. But then after that, it doesn't matter how divided we are as a country. A lot of times the Gang of 8 will come out and say, hey, we saw the evidence. This is good. Or, hey, we saw the evidence. We have a lot of questions. Whatever it is. They're not even briefing the Gang of 8 on this. So, like, there is no oversight being done by Congress at all with this. We're just letting Stephen Miller and Rubio decide who gets blown up. And I don't know if you guys saw, but the general in charge of, it's called like Southcom. It's that area of the world. He actually resigned this week after only a year on duty. His name was Halsey, I believe. And he resigned. He's not saying why. There's a lot of rumors that he did not agree with these strikes on these fishing boats, and that's why. But he's gone, so they're going to install some leader who's going to be very willing to say yes, sir, to whatever he's told.
Did you see Stephen Miller glitch out the other day?
What was it about?
Oh my gosh, I wish I pulled this video. He was asked a question and he just blank faced, and you could see him blink and like move a little bit, but he just kind of stood there and he just like totally blanked. I don't know what it was.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Plenary authority, right?
There we go. Thank you very much, Jesse. Plenary authority. So we'll play that next time. But he said the president has plenary authority, and as soon as he said it, either he realized, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, or somebody in his ear or somebody behind the camera, somehow there was like, hey, no. And then he just like froze, and I think he was trying to think of how to backtrack and get out of that. And then he just stayed frozen until finally they were like, I guess we're having issues with the mic, and they went away. But plenary authority basically means the president is king. The president has total control. The president can do whatever he wants. Nobody can tell the president no. And he said that, and had he frozen at any other moment, I would have been like, what was that? But no, he froze purposely because he realized, oh shit, I just said that out loud. Like that's a scary thing. Yeah. So, but they truly believe that though. It's plenary authority is one way to say it. Another way is the unilateral executive theory. That's what Richard Nixon believed in, was the unilateral executive theory, which is basically if the president does it, it can't be illegal. That's what Nixon used to say.
And what happened to Nixon?
He eventually got impeached, or he left before he got impeached. But yeah, he was going to get impeached. Yeah, it's scary. These guys are very scary. So anyhow, that's all I got on Venezuela. For a while I kept thinking like, we're not going to go to war with Venezuela. Trump's just trying to get them to this or that. But we saw that clip earlier. They've offered him everything they can offer, and he doesn't care. I think he thinks that Venezuela will be an easy war, and I think he thinks like, oh, this will look good. Let's go take over a country that's bad. Venezuela is not a good country, like I said. Colombia is not a good, like, the leadership there needs to go. I agree with that. I just don't think we should be starting any new foreign wars. Like,
yeah, and like you said, how has this gone in our previous experience of trying to overthrow a regime?
I can't think of a single time in our history that it's worked ever. Like,
never.
I go back all the way to,
Adolf Hitler, maybe. That's the only time I've ever worked.
Well, but that we overthrew that, and then we pretty much got out of there. Like we occupied Berlin for a while, but like we let Germany set up their own Western Germany, the part that wasn't Soviet controlled. We let them set up their own republic and do their own thing. It's when we go in and we try to control how their democracy is going to go, and we like hold their hand through it. Like it never works because we always try to install like the guy that we made like the first president of Iraq. He was the U.S. backed guy, and like most of the people of Iraq didn't fucking like that guy. Like they didn't like him at all. And as soon as they got the chance, they got rid of him. And we were like, oh, why'd they get rid of our guy? Because he was our guy. That's the problem is if we go into either of these countries, we're going to try to install our guy, and the people there aren't going to like that shit. And
who's going to come and save us?
Nobody. There's nobody that can save us. Yeah, and I don't think anybody wants to. I'm starting to think, looking around, we even had Trump had the Prime Minister of Australia in the Oval Office today, and he was kind of being a dick to them, and it was just like, what did Australia do to us? It makes no sense.
He doesn't like democracy. Trump is anti-democracy.
What's weird is it just seems like he doesn't like our allies, like any of our traditional allies.
All of our allies are democracy, are democratic allies, right?
You make a good point.
So I was thinking about it the other day, right? So everybody for decades, they've looked at the United States as being the big brother, right? The person that's going to carry the big stick and help out in the fight, right? Look at the major superpowers, whether you'd say they're relevant today or not. What's the first superpower that comes to mind? Like what country is
U.S.
okay,
U.S., China,
China,
and
the
Russia.
EU.
Those are the
and
three.
Russia.
Yeah.
So US, China, Russia. China, what kind of government do they run?
Russia lost their clout in the 80s. I think the EU is stronger than Russia.
I think they had lost their clout, excuse me, until Putin got in, and Putin has been on a mission to get them back to their standing in the world stage, and he's working on it. They're not there yet, but he's working on it. Jesse, the answer to your question is: China officially a communist country or not? I know we call them communist all the time, but what do they call themselves?
Yeah, what do they call themselves? That's a good question. They definitely are communist, but they have a weird economy. They have a weird ruling because they're communist, but they're also very pro-labor.
So, real quick,
Like
this is what AI says. It is complicated to label China simply as a communist country. While the nation is governed by the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, it is a current system that has blended elements of market capitalism with an authoritarian one-party political structure.
So
So
it's like a capitalistic.
and I think that's what they call state capitalism, because people are saying that what Trump is doing right now, where he's taking 10% of this country and 10% or of these different companies, they're saying that's not communist. It's really state capitalism, like
Yeah.
state-run capitalism. And I think that that's kind of what China does. I could be totally wrong on that. But anyhow, Jesse, you were going somewhere and I cut you off there.
All good. So here's maybe one way of looking at it, right? We've all had a favorite sports team, right? Hey, our team's going to win the game. Our team's going to go to the playoffs and they're going to win the Super Bowl. But if you're willing to step outside of your, blind, you
Cowboy fandism.
Thank you. If you really just look at everything on paper, it should be easy enough for us to step back and go, well, maybe our team is not going to make it all the way, right? If we look at a superpower like China, right, and we're okay saying that, yes, we love the United States, we're not communists, but if we look at technology, we look at the strength of their military, with Russia, similar but different, right? They've had a lot of challenges in the last couple of years with the war going on between them and Ukraine. However, what Russia has proved is that they will use every resource possible. And when it's time to fuck shit up, they're going to do exactly that, right? So you've got China, who I have to believe is a superpower. They've got the people, they've got the bodies, the technology, right? You've got Russia, you have the United States. Now, all of a sudden, let's say the United States flips. Now, all of a sudden, we are a dictatorship, right? We have an authoritarian leader. Where does the rest of the world go 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road from that?
China.
Who can stand up to any of those three? Who's going to be willing to stand up to any of those three? And then what does the future state of everything look like when that's the direction we're currently going and we continue to go, and now we're 10 years removed? I don't know. I was kind of stuck in I was going down a rabbit hole.
No, that's a very interesting point. And it's something that I contemplate too, is like, so America is cutting off China. We're basically pushing China out. China's looking for new trading partners. Like the entire world was on this track of like globalization, which people say is a bad thing, but like I
don't get it.
I think we should all work together. Hold on, let me finish my thing. We should all work together to build a community of trade and society. We're all people, right? And Trump has just completely upended that, right? I mean, not only do we have Russia going to war and Israel doing a genocide, but like as a trading community, we just upended everything and we're all kind of scrambling to figure out who our next, like where we're going to get this and that and, paper and aluminum and whatever from. Like, it's kind of a crazy world. It's very insane what we're going through right now.
Well, and two things. One, Jesse, your point about if democracy falls in America, I'd never even contemplated that. Like, and I think that sadly, I think it would be a domino effect, and quickly democracy in Western Europe would quickly tumble behind that, and it'd be just a bunch of authoritarian countries running around. Docs, what you were just saying though, I've never understood the people that are like they use the word globalist as like a derogatory term, like, oh, he's a globalist. Like it seems like the best case scenario for all of America or for all of the world would be like, hey, this country has the resources to make this for really cheap. They should make that and export it to the world. This other country makes something different. They should, and global trade seems like it's been good for humanity. Like in every way you can look at it, as global trade has increased, the quality of everybody's lives in most countries has gotten way better because of that. Goods have gotten cheaper and more accessible. Like global trade has been a good thing for humanity, but like starting with Trump's first term, like globalist became a bad word, and like
Yeah.
we should make everything here in America and not buy from other. What? That's not even freaking possible. Like, what are we talking about? If we could make everything here in America, it would cost a fortune. Like, what are we talking about here? Anyhow, that's my rant.
I agree. Yeah. No, it's crazy. Like you're right. And I think we were on a good track to everybody in the world's lives being better, and then Trump upended it. And not just taking away from like uh USAID or whatever, where we were like helping saving lives in Africa or whatever. Like we also have made coffee more expensive for people in America
For no reason. We don't make coffee.
for no reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a small bit of coffee that comes from Hawaii. Other than that, most of our coffee comes from South America, and now we're taxing the shit out of that, tariffing that. Like it makes no sense. Just to be a dick, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to be a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Jesse, you got anything before we sign off for the night?
That's it, my man. Just leaving y'all with some food for thought. I've been thinking about that more recently. A lot of it was stimulated by the people that Donald Trump's partnering up with, and his family is Saudi Arabia, other people in the Middle East, people that forever we've looked at as being our enemies and people that we want to maintain the most distance from. And so it's just something that I've had my head wrapped around the last couple of days, what the future state of the world would be like with Russia, China, and the U.S. if the U.S. is acting like both Russia and China.
I've never been able to understand that, but it's clear I think to anybody objectively looking at it, like Donald Trump likes the authoritarian strongmen. Like he's jealous of them, or he looks up to them, or he wants to be like them. Like I don't really know.
Unless they're in South America.
That's true. Unless they're in South America, but like all the Middle Eastern ones and Putin and Xi, like he said, he's on the mic saying that, oh, you see the way that when she says jump, his people say how high or something very similar to that, you know? And he's like, how do I get my people to do that? And it's like he thinks that's awesome. The people that rule their country with an iron fist, he thinks that's awesome, and he wishes he could do that. And I've never that's not loving America. To go all the way back to No Kings, like that's not loving America. If you love America, that's about our democracy and our system of representational government. Like, he doesn't seem to like that. I'm just going to go out on a limb. He's not a fan of that.
Well, I think if we go back and we look at Trump as a whole, he's never been pro-America, right? His, what's the reference about grabbing a pussy, right?
Yep, grab him.
You can do that when you're in my status. When you're in my status, when you're one of me, you can do that. You can get away with anything. Somebody has a problem, sue him. He's proven to do that. So yeah, just put somebody who's an absolute horrible human being in the strongest position of power in the United States, and we're seeing it unravel. It's
I think his exact quote was, "When you're rich, they let you do it." I think it's or did he say when you're a star, they let you do it? It's one
when you're a star, and it's been that way throughout history.
Yeah,
I think Trump is just Trump first. That's all.
Yeah, he's looking out for number one
first.
No, he's definitely looking out for number one. That's the scary part about him.
Make Trump great again.
And that's the thing. Like we talked about this a week ago, but the people that are like, Donald Trump is the most Christian president ever, and I'm just like, what are you looking at? Like, what do you see? There's the same people that'll say Donald Trump is sacrificing for our country. He's losing money because he loves America. And it's like, no, he's enriching himself off the president. Like, are you not seeing the same news stories I am? Like he's gained $3 billion in wealth just since January.
But in the history books, he has done this strategically because he gives up his presidential salary, which is like $250,000, and he has strategically does that because history books will say he's the only president in American history that ever gave up his presidential salary. But hopefully they also put an asterisk beside that and say that he also made $4 billion off of crypto.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
That's scary. So
he's a Servian president, y'all. We're
Jesus.
fortunate to have him at the helm.
How lucky we are. So.
How lucky.
All right. Good night to you, fellas.
Good night.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.